Rich and poor. In ancient Egypt, people had different jobs, and what they did often depended on whether they were rich or poor. Let's look at how life was for both groups and learn about some of the jobs they had. At the top of society was the pharaoh. The pharaoh was the king or queen of Egypt and the most important and wealthiest person. The pharaoh lived in a grand palace, wore fine clothes, and had many people to take care of them. They were in charge of the entire country and made all the big decisions. Below the pharaoh were the nobles, governors, and high priests. These people were also very important and wealthy. They helped the pharaoh run the country. Nobles owned large lands, and governors managed different parts of Egypt. High priests took care of the temples and led religious ceremonies. They lived in nice homes, ate delicious food, and wore beautiful clothes. Then there were craft workers, scribes, artists, and priests and priestesses. Craft workers made things like jewelry, pottery, and tools. Scribes were special because they knew how to read and write, which was very important. They kept records and wrote down important information. Artists painted and sculpted, creating beautiful works of art, and priests and priestesses worked in temples, taking care of the gods. These people had good jobs and lived comfortably. Most people in ancient Egypt were farmers, builders, record keepers, temple workers, and fishermen. Farmers worked hard in the fields, growing the food that everyone needed to eat. Builders made houses, temples, and pyramids. Record keepers helped scribes, temple workers helped the priests, and fishermen caught fish from the Nile. Life was tough for these people. They worked long hours and didn't have many luxuries. At the bottom of society were slaves and criminals. Slaves were often captured from other lands and were forced to work very hard without being paid. Criminals were people who had broken the rules. They both had to do the hardest and most difficult jobs, and their lives were very tough. There were rules about who could do each job, and it was hard for people to move up to more important jobs. Most people did the same kind of work as their parents. Rich people like the pharaoh, nobles, and high priests lived in grand homes, ate the best food, wore fine clothes, and had many servants. They didn't have to do much hard work and spent their time enjoying life, learning, and taking part in religious ceremonies. Poor people like farmers and builders worked very hard every day. They lived in small, simple homes made of mud bricks, ate basic food like bread and vegetables, and didn't have much time for fun. Life was much harder for them, but they were the ones who kept Egypt running. In ancient Egypt, whether you were rich or poor greatly affected your life, the work you did, and the things you could enjoy.